All right, welcome back, Bear Down. And it's very typical this time of year when this happens, when we sign some big contracts, when we get into the first of free agency. They don't update until the full details of those contracts are released. So they aren't released right now. If you look at Spotrac, you're going to see this is what it looks like. I know this is a lot to take in there, but the 2025 cap totals, a lot of this information is correct. A lot of this will be good. A lot of it won't be good. Cap space, they're saying, and the reason they say top 51 total is because you only count 51 against the cap until you get through 90-man roster, because that helps give some flexibility for teams as they go into 90-man roster. They're not going to count all those future reserve, practice squad style players as you take them. You're bringing players into competing camp to have 90 men. You can't count all those against the cap. So they only count 51, and then when you cut it down, it does count all 53. You also have to count your practice squad players against that as well. And we haven't even gotten to the draft, and the draft is going to account for several of these players as well. So here's what I'm talking about when I say they haven't accounted for them yet. You see here, Grady Jarrett, Durham Smythe, Deo Odengbo, and Drew Dahlman. Those contract details are not here right now. So even though these guys all show their $840,000, these guys are showing as zero. So that zero against the $37 million is not realistic. So it's hard to track some of these things. So I'm going to do a lot of these little mini videos, little quick hitting. I'm just going to go through it real quick so you guys can see where we stand right now. And we won't know where we really stand with the salary cap until these details are released, until we know if they're front-loaded, back-loaded, how they look. Is it a straight $14.5 million across the entire contract? How does it look across that whole thing? We don't know. And so when we do know, I'll update this again. But I'm going to give you guys these quick-hitting salary cap videos so you have a clear understanding of it. All right, we're breaking out the old spreadsheet. Here we go. Just know on the right-hand side here, here's our count. Here's our count of roster spots. We're only going to count 51 as we get to the 90-man roster. That's what they do to allow you to have a little flexibility in the cap space. They're not going to count certain things against the cap. Then you've got to trim it down from there. The green will be needs. So as we go through here, just know we need another running back. That's going to happen somewhere or another. And then the details are undisclosed. So you'll see as we get down to here, some of these like Durham Smythe, that one's not going to be hard to understand. $2 million against the cap because there's only a one-year deal. But Drew Dahlman is at $14 million flat across his contract for the $42 million contract. Is it 14 flat? I doubt it with the way things have turned out in this year. So it's got to be a little backloaded, I would think. Some bonuses, some bonuses in that contract that will get counted later on. Same thing with Deo Odengbo, $16 million here. Grady Jarrett, $14.5. I doubt these are flat because when you get down to the end here, I'm just going to spoiler it. We're at $4.28 million over the cap if you're counting the rookie cap pool. So these are the 7 draft picks. That's what it's going to count against the cap. Then your practice squad players, you're going to count roughly $250,000 each this year on the practice squad. You have to account for those things. Are they going to count right now while we're on the 90-man roster? No. So on paper, we won't be over the cap. But the Bears are taking these things into consideration. So I dare say we're done with major free agent signings. And these contracts are most likely backloaded a little bit. Yes, we can restructure some contracts. I doubt we would restructure Tremaine Edmonds because he has very few guarantees next year on his contract. So the Bears are going to make him play this out and see if he can earn that, or we'll cut him or restructure after this year. You know, basically get rid of this contract and re-sign a new one. There's options that we can do there. Players like Montez Sweat, it's a level contract. We can restructure that to backload it a little bit if we need to. So I don't think we'll be doing any more big signings. You can see if you count all these up, we have 42 players that count towards the main roster, players that actually count. We're not counting Travarius Moore. He just re-signed a one-year contract. What the details are that, we don't know yet, so I actually should have that as this. Alex Cook he's signed to the practice squad future reserve. Carl Jones. You look at these. No, I'm not counting Chris Williams, even though we tendered his restricted free. None of it's guaranteed. So he's sitting there $3.26 million. You add that in here at that need at nose tackle, at defensive tackle, and then you're even more over the cap. So I don't think Chris Williams will be on this team. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he will end up being let go for those purposes. But then as you look through here, you can see I will start with the top quarterbacks. We got 2 counting towards the 53-man roster. In my opinion, again, this is my opinion, we're going to need 1 here at running back. So you got 3, 4, 5. And then you're going to have down here at wide receiver, DJ Moore. We can restructure that one. You got Rome Odunze. You need 2 more here, Tyler Scott, and then I'm not counting any of these. So these don't count. See how that blue, this is how the Excel format works. Those don't count, the bottom ones. These top ones are the only ones that are counting. Okay? You get Cole Kmet, Durham Smythe. Neither of these are counting. You see that there? So there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Get down in here to the offensive line that is majorly revamped. Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Joe Tooney, Bill Murray, Ryan Bates, and Kiran Amagaji. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Now, let's say, for example, the Bears pick a different guard. Or if they cut Ryan Bates, that can save $3.5 million if they cut him. Unless they cut him before tomorrow, then it's 4. But $3.5 million we could save there. So there's some cap savings there, but we would have to have somebody else fill in that role. And Ben Johnson talked about how he wants high-level players. He wants top 8. He wants guys that can rotate in without any hesitation, without any problems. So we're going to want some high-level guys. I think Ryan Poles still likes his guard here and Ryan Bates that he traded for. But then you got 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We don't know how that structure is. As soon as it is, I'll update this. I'll let you guys know. But then on the defensive line, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Are we keeping these guys? Here's one thing. If we cut Dominic Robinson, it's not like you're saving the $1 million because you're going to replace the contract with another one that's around the same price. Say we have Daniel Hardy we replace Dominic Robinson with. Then you're still filling in the slot. I mean, you're saving very minimal savings there. So, no, that's not a big way to save contracts when you cut these guys. Cutting Zach Pickens is not going to save a ton of contract. It's going to save a little bit, but not a ton. So you got to remember those things as you consider the salary cap. These ones, we don't know how they're structured yet, but 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Get down to the linebackers. You got 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. Probably need one more here. And then the secondary, 32 through 40, and then your special teams, 41, 42. And those are only counting up there. So when you tally all that up, there's the special teams. There's the special teams guys. Long snapper will be an easy one to fill. So your roster as it sits right now, sitting at 268, 742. The salary cap is 279. We have $5 million in rollover cap from last year, so it's 284. So people will tell you we have 16-ish million. It's not accurate, though, because you have dead cap, you have the rookie pool, and your practice squad. So you have to take those things into consideration. The Bears are technically you're not technically over the cap because the league year hasn't started yet. The 90-man rosters haven't even started yet. You haven't drafted these players, so they're not even on the roster yet. But taking these things into consideration helps you understand the salary cap more. So when you have all those things considered, we have roughly 10 more spots to fill. One of those will be easy, and then these draft picks, whether that's a linebacker at the later pick, a defensive end, nose tackle, a center backup, a tackle backup, a tight end, wide receivers, running back, wherever they're fit. Those 7 of those spots will be filled by this here. So really it's 49 if you think of it that way, if you add in these ones, which are included in this value. So 49. So really we need 4 more spots, and it's just going to come down to how these are structured right here because they've got to be backloaded a little bit for that. So don't be shocked if most of these contracts that are signed are backloaded, that they're cheaper on the first years. Lots of bonuses, especially Drew Dahlman. We expect him to be here with Caleb through his rookie contract. I think that's one that we're firm on having him be here. So Drew Dahlman might be backloaded a little bit, more bonuses up front. Give him the money still, but backload the money to the end of the contract. And don't be shocked if some contracts like Montez Sweat, Jalen Johnson, DJ Moore, guys that we plan on keeping here, no end in sight for wanting them to stay with the team, that they can restructure to put some of that money. Same situation, backloaded a little bit more to make it work. But I wouldn't expect the Bears to get into backloading mode until we make the playoffs, until we start getting in the Super Bowl window. Once you do that, then we can backload those a little bit more. But we've got to do something to add these into the roster to be able to have this work out this year to make the salary cap work. But this is where the salary cap stands right now. When those 4 contracts become released, when they're official, when we can see the year-by-year breakdown, I will get that to you guys. I will make sure you understand the salary cap in full, where we stand, where it goes from here. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't, the like button, please do that. If you haven't subscribed, this is a lot of the nerdy, analytical, geeky, as well as breaking news and my thoughts and comments on all things related to the Chicago Bears. I will give you all of that. So if you haven't subscribed, please do that. Please share with your friends. Hit the notification button for the algorithm and to get notified. Until next time, Bears and bear down.